Recognise the aircraft? Yep, I'm back at County Hall for today's inaugural Norfolk Flood Prevention Summit. 4 years ago, Christmas 2020, I spent that Christmas week, like many people across mid-Norfolk, helping friends and neighbours clear out their houses, clear sewage out of their houses and beg for Anglia water tankers. I set up the Mid-Norfolk Flood Partnership, comprised of 17 villages across Mid-Norfolk. We set out a very simple action plan. We then worked with County Hall and they set up the Norfolk Strategic Flood Alliance with General Dannett, who I work closely with, now run by Henry Cater, who's done brilliant work. And 2 years ago when I left government, I was able to put more time into this and to ask that we convene this first summit. Today it's happening. The 30 agencies across Norfolk who all have responsibility for flood prevention, far too many, too much buck passing, not enough accountability. So today we're getting them all in a room here in County Hall to set out a map of how bad the flooding has become across Norfolk, hear what they're all doing, go through their budgets, work out what powers they've got and set out a very clear plan. And I'm going to go down to London with my bill to change the law so that we properly invest, support and empower local flood prevention instead of giving all the money to national quangos who don't know very often or even really care what's going on in places like Mill Lane in Attleborough. People deserve better, and that's my job and our job to try and make the system deliver that. Come in and have a look and see how the summit goes. National framework also needs sorting out, which is what the bill that I've drafted and I'm working on does. We're in the process of polishing it and working with an ever-growing number of partners, but it's very simple. It has four clauses and four aims. The first is responsibilities, the second is funding, the third is liabilities, and the fourth is data and mapping. Responsibilities, we need a much clearer set of responsibilities in London. The Cabinet Office need to be mapping flooding across the country and gripping it as a national resilience issue. Norfolk is ranked 8 of the 10 worst affected counties. So this isn't a small local problem, this is a national problem, and pretty soon we're going to start to see national infrastructure affected. So the costs will go through the roof, but we also need local responsibilities recognised and respected. The internal drainage boards have managed water catchments for hundreds of years very successfully. Their budgets are being squeezed. The district councils responsible for them, their budgets are being squeezed. So we need to top slice some Environment Agency money down to support the responsibilities on the ground. You can't have a Norfolk Strategic Flood Alliance that doesn't have any money. So the responsibilities have got to be mapped. And then clause 2, the funding needs to follow. Clause 3 is going to be controversial, but I'm trying to answer the question, how do we get house builders and developers to invest up front in the improved drainage infrastructure? Well, it seems to me the only way is to make them liable for flooding downstream when they've built large numbers of houses which lead to flooding. And I think that will get the directors of developing companies to say, look, I think it's better that we upgrade the drainage when we put it in. And clause 4 deals with data and mapping. I sat down with the Met Office last week and with the Environment Agency, both of whom have terabytes of data. And the Met Office is the world's leading institute for climate mapping. I used to be their minister. I mean, it's a phenomenal organization. So when I asked them, surely you now, when you see a rain pattern, when you see rainfall pattern at a certain time of year and you've got the hydrology data, you can predict that rain, which is coming on Monday and lands on wet land in those counties, will lead to flooding in those villages 24, 36, 48 hours later. But they're not. What they do is they issue a sort of yellow cloud warning to say it's probably going to flood somewhere in East Anglia. We know that. What the people of Mill Lane need to know is you are going to have a surge on Tuesday morning. They know that, actually. They're ahead of the agencies here. But this is not impossible. We've got the data. We're just not using it properly. And Henry, I do think here in Norfolk, we should have a digital map. We'll just start with a physical one would be good, of where this year did we see inland flooding and which are the new places that haven't had it traditionally where it's now beginning to appear. If we don't map it and catch the data, we can't manage it. And we can't keep being in this reactive mode of somebody in some village has got a problem and only when 100 people get a problem will we go and see it. We have to collect that data better. So that's what the bill seeks to do. So I'm here today at County Hall in the main
Council chamber, and the noise you can hear is the sound of people wrapping up and drifting away after the first Norfolk Inland Flood Prevention Summit, an initiative that I launched 2 years ago and been chasing to get organised. The election got in the way, various things have got in the way, but finally we've done it. We've pulled all the organisations together here in Norfolk. You believe it or not, there are over 30 with responsibility for flood prevention. It's completely hopeless. And we've got the Environment Agency here, DEFRA here, and Anglia Water here. And we've looked at the map of where all the inland flooding is happening, and we've set out a very clear set of actions over the next 12 months that all the partners are going to commit to, and then we'll come back here and hold them to account on behalf of the people of this county who pay their taxes and expect not to live in fear of flooding and to be properly protected. And my commitment is to keep up this crusade on your behalf.